The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Hosted by me, Carl B. Phillips, Uncle Carl.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Get ready for another great conversation on the Carl B. Phillips Show. Welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show. I am Carl B. Phillips, Uncle Carl. Today's guest is a multi-talented musician, producer, entrepreneur, husband, father, and the owner of My-Zeal Productions. Please help me welcome my nephew, Craig Mizell. What's up, nephew?
What's going on, Unc? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yes, sir.
Now, as I warned you, I'm going to ask some random questions. So here's the first random question. What saying did you hear adults say when you were growing up that you now find yourself saying?
Wow, that is super random. I'm trying to think of something. I will say it like this. My mother always told me that, God rest her soul, that she would that I would regret treating her house the way I treated it. And she said I would only regret it when I got kids. And I understand 100% what she was saying. Because, I mean, the kids, they just think that they the ones working for this stuff that you got around. So that's probably the one thing that my mother used to say to me that I definitely agree with and understands.
My mother used to say, close the door, I can't heat up the whole street.
Yeah.
Those sayings, there's a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were raised in Flint, Michigan. Talk about
Yes,
your church experience growing up in Flint.
You said my church experience growing up in Flint, or just my experience, period?
Either one, experience or church experience.
I grew up, I was really in the suburbs of Flint. I don't really say that often. When I'm talking to people, I always gotta say I'm from Detroit, because you say you're from Flint, then they try to start cracking jokes. So yeah, I just say from Detroit. So I'm from Grand Blanc, is a suburb south of Flint.
That's the bougie side of Flint. Be real.
Yeah. But I grew up in the township. I grew up in the township, so it's a little different. So yeah, I grew up there, and I had was always in Flint, of course, because it was right there. And I was able to kind of like get my foundation of how to play. I was a young man named Roger Jones at the time. I think Roger might have been 30, 31 years old. I was about 13. And I started learning how to play the organ and piano from being around him. And I'm talking, when I say learning to play the organ piano, I learned how to play the organ piano from my mother. But I learned how to play like this contemporary church and that Church of God in Christ sound. I kind of was able to ascertain that from Roger Jones II. So that's kind of how I got my foundation. I was a drummer, like most musicians first. And then I just one day decided, hey, I don't want to play drums anymore. I want to play the piano. And I can still play the drums, just definitely nowhere near as good as these young kids these days. So
now, if I remember correctly, Roger Jones, his father was a bishop, and
still is.
Martin was at the church also.
Yep.
Kenneth Martin.
Right.
So that kind of leads to my next question. When you think of the gospel music that came out of Flint, like the Kenneth Martin, the Adelia Dunlaps, New Jerusalem, how did that Flint area music influence you as a musician?
Flint's music was, it always I grew up like with my piano playing skills. Where they started was at this church called El Shaddai, Church of God in Christ in Flint. And Elder Steve Hawkins, Superintendent Steve Hawkins, may rest in peace. The way they did church was really like funky and really like, everything was just had a groove to it. So it felt really 90s, and this was early 2000s. So you just coming out of the 90s. So it still had this really funky groove to it. To the music they would do. They would do a lot of Ricky Dillard stuff. So at that time, that was the I think the unplugged thing that he had did. So everything was real, just hard hitting. So that kind of started like that basis of I want to do the gospel I want to make, and what I want to use to glorify God is going to be something more funky, something more people will initially listen to and be like, you know, like, this is nice. This is something I would listen to if I was in the club. So I could listen to this. I can listen to this in my car, but, still be glorifying God. So, everything I do with music now comes to what's going to attract the listener to then start listening to the message, and get them to the party. And I think that's what we've gotten lost on. We keep trying to minister, we keep trying to sing to the same church people.
Right.
And we're forgetting that it's a whole world of people who they don't know the Jesus, they don't know God the way we know them, who know him. So they need to be brought in a different way. And that doesn't mean to compromise, but that also means that we have to find creative ways to minister the gospel.
When you say that, it makes me think about something that Kirk Franklin once said. He talked about how he'll do a song like Stomp to get your attention, but when you listen to the album, you're going to hear My Life Is in Your Hands.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the 90s gave us that groove. You talk the Thompson community singers, Donald Lawrence, Ricky Dillard.
Let me say 80s and 90s. It wasn't
80s
just
and
the
90s.
90s, the 80s and 90s. It was a groove there.
It was a groove. Now we're all common. Let's worship the Lord. Let me rephrase it. We're multicultural now.
There you go.
I was at an event where you and your wife, Dana, were introduced as one of Detroit's power couples. Talk about the natural and spiritual connection the two of you have.
Just Dana, she's just an amazing addition to my life. Look, I'll be transparent. I came out of a really toxic marriage, and had to do some healing, some self, inward, introspection on myself about like, hey, Craig, what did you contribute to to the failure of this? And, I got really to a point I was really beating myself up. Like, hey man, this is your fault. This is blah, blah, blah. And Dana was able to, and the reason why I was at that point is because I was being told I was the bad guy. You're not doing this, that, and third. And so it took a woman come into my life to say, no, you're an awesome husband. You're a great provider. You're this, that, and the third. So that part right there, she was being able to minister to me, as my girlfriend first, and then eventually as my wife, to like really kind of let me know like, hey, you're awesome. You can do this. And just the encouragement she's able to give me and to be for me, just in a natural space has been just amazing. And then just spiritually, like the way she prays for me and covers me and everything that I'm doing, that is literally something I did not have before she came into my life as my partner. So yeah, our connection is one that is crazy. Even on a level we work musically. And our biggest thing for us is how we collaborate. Our collaboration between we have different companies that we have, and we collaborate all of them as much as possible. And we have fun doing it. It's not just well, this is my husband, so I gotta, we're both talented at what we do. So it's not a false, I'm supporting my husband because he's my husband, not because what he's doing isn't good. So it's like we push each other in that way. I always consider myself competing with her, like as far as, and it is in a fun way, like she did my birthday was Sunday the 11th, and she did so much, awesome stuff for me. So I joked on my live or on my one of my reels the other day, like, hey, yeah, so I need some support because I gotta outdo her for hers. And so it's just those little things. You know, we always talk about iron sharpening iron, being between brothers and this, that, and the third. But we sharpen each other all the time. And she really is able to impart things into me, impart wisdom into me that I just wasn't able to receive earlier, before meeting her, and wasn't even getting. So yeah, that's kind of our connection, our space power couple. I don't know about that, but if that's what the people want to say.
This isn't on my list of questions, but I think
Hmm.
you brought up a good point, because a lot of times we that are men in ministry, when we go through divorce, because I've been there,
Hmm.
we don't have the opportunity to share what
Yeah.
we're dealing with, what the
Yeah.
hurts we're dealing with. We're expected to be strong and keep going.
Yeah.
Kind of go back to how you navigated that season of your life until you were able to connect with Dana.
Yeah. I mean, she jokes all the time because when she came into my life, it was basically a bachelor pad. It was me and my two sons. And, I had a maid. I had a maid for a while. I'm not rich. Somebody cleaned up my house. So I had somebody clean my house, and you know, it was just bringing that feminine energy that I really wasn't getting with the boys and us. It was just I mean, when I tell you we were eating out every night, and you already know when
I
a
know.
wife comes into your life, it's going to change all of that. So it was a shock to the kids. It was a shock to me because I mean, hey, we Applebee's the night, we Cheesecake Factory the next night, we Red Lobster, we J. Alexander's another night. We just wherever we felt like that night. The house was cleaned every Wednesday, and this, that, and the third. So my kids were spoiled. They didn't even know, like, to clean. What was that?
How to clean
So,
it.
yeah, clean my room. What are you talking about? It's clean when I get here. What are you talking about, Dad? So, just that nurturing, mothering wife, spirit and energy that she brought around. Life was like, it might, for some people might seem like, oh, Craig's living it up. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I was very just in a space of um wanting to not feel like I had failed, and wanting to make sure, I was in this really space of like, hey, I gotta figure out who I am as a person, because I had been with my ex-wife since 2006.
Mm.
And just got a divorce in 2019, 2020. So it's like how how do you move past this whole space, and you've been here all your 20s, all like that was a lot. That was a lot to get through and to try to figure out. So being able to have her, once I got to more of a heal space, to be able to have her to be like, hey, I got you. I got you. So
In that time period, and again, we're
mhm.
just talking,
Oh
and
yeah.
you and I, we talk like this all the time.
Yeah.
Um, During that time period, did you ever believe that you would love again?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that was ever the case. I didn't, think that I wouldn't love again. I just think it was, I was so young when I got married the first time. I was 21, but I
Mhm.
had been dating my wife at the time, my ex-wife rather, for 2 years or something, like 2.5, 3 years or something like that. So, you know, I went straight from my mother's house to college for a couple of years, and then I'm with somebody else, and then I'm in a full-fledged relationship. So you talking about from birth to 18 with a woman, take a year off with a woman so I didn't really understand. I didn't understand like how to be by myself.
Right.
I had to learn like, hey, Craig, you got to figure out some things for yourself. You know, and like I said, trying to trying to navigate that, and then you have kids. That's the other part that just plays a big, huge role in it. Is like, hey man, you got these kids, you gotta be a good example for them.
Mhm.
So trying to figure out navigate all of that. It was a definitely challenging time.
You mentioned that you recently celebrated a birthday. That
Yeah.
is going to lead to my next random question.
Yeah, yeah.
If someone could give you anything in the world for your birthday, what would you like to receive? Anything in the world. Now, I know
Anything.
your wife has already set the bar high.
Um, well, where I'm at in my life is I'm trying to help people.
Mhm.
So, I have a new entity called Believe Big, where I'm trying to bring creative arts back to different school districts that have lost it.
Mhm.
And do it in a way that's affordable to the district, that is able to help the children, and that's able to tell kids, hey, believe big, and whatever it is that you're dreaming, you got to believe for it, and believe that whatever the big is that you have dreamed of, that you have had a vision of, that you have thought of, that you can achieve it, that
Mhm.
all things are possible. So you wanna be able to give these kids hope, give these kids some strategies for being able to do what it is that they love, whether it's music, whether it's dancing, whether it's uh, creative writing, whatever it is. You can make a career of that, and don't let anybody tell you you have to have this 9 to 5 job over here. No, you just need the tools to know how you can make that 9 to 5 money doing what it is that you love. And there's literally a way for you to be a producer and do it and make the money you need to make. There's literally a way for you to be a songwriter and make the money you need to make. But that all depends on your discipline. It depends on your connections that you know. And so I want to be able to give these kids a way, tools to move towards discipline, to be able to make money that way, and then to be able to give them the encouragement that you can do this. It's not out of the realm, and put people in front of them that are doing it on a regular basis and making a good life of it.
So it sounds like the one thing that you would want someone to give you is to invest in you.
Boom, there you go. I didn't grab back to it, but you rounded it on up. There it is. Invest in
Invest in your
big, believe
vision.
big. Yeah.
So I saw the interview that you did for Believe Big. I think it was on,
Mhm.
was it channel, what channel was that on? It was one of the
Four,
Detroit channel,
four,
channel 4.
NBC. Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I have nicknamed you the Berry Gordy of Detroit gospel music. And the reason I do that, you kind of tapped into it when you talked about the foundation that you're pulling together. You have a passion to help develop, educate, and cultivate gospel artists, and with your big
Yeah,
endeavor, sound like you want to do it beyond just gospel music.
yeah.
Talk about your vision behind starting My-Zeal Productions back in 2010.
My Zeal Productions. I'll be honest. I was doing my first record that I was producing. It was with Second Ebenezer. Well, it wasn't so much with Second Ebenezer, it was with Kingdom Alliance Covenant Fellowship, but Bishop Van, Second Ebenezer gonna be involved. So Second Ebenezer, Kingdom Alliance Covenant Fellowship, we did a record in 2010. So I formed the company because I needed to make sure things were, right as far as business. I didn't really have an ethos. I didn't really have a vision. I didn't really have anything. I just knew I needed to start the business because that was what you're supposed to do. Then somewhere about 2013, 2014, everything started rounding into place. And God didn't give it to me in a dream. He didn't give it to me in one vision, just sitting down. It's just been over time. Hey, work with this person. And all of a sudden, things just started kind of working its way into, Craig, you need to make sure you're collaborating. Because one thing that happens, the older you get, even if you're very good at a multiplicity of things, you have to figure out at some point you're better at this thing than you are at the other. Right. And so at some point I realized, Craig, you're a better producer than you are a musician. Craig, you're a better producer than you are a, singer. Craig, you're better this, that, and a third. So when you realize this is the lane you're supposed to walk in, now, all right, who are the people in the people that you need in place to make sure that you're the best, whatever your main focus is. So as a producer, I'm the person supposed to put all the music together and make sure that it's consumable for consumers. Right. So, that puts me in the lead position a lot of the times, but it also puts me in the number 2 position, depending on which artist you're working with. So My-Zeal became more like, all right, well, Craig, you got to collaborate with people. This isn't just, you can't do everything yourself, and, working with Kevin Stewart was pretty much probably the first piece of My-Zeal coming together. Was Kevin, he's a phenomenal songwriter, and people are going to get really exposed to that, how good of a songwriter he is and how quick he is at doing it. And, then it starts rounding out with another piece, Quentin Denard as my mixing engineer, that just came about just around in 2020. But I mean, I'll tell you, he's one of my best friends, and he's a great engineer. He's a great mixing engineer, even though he's a great producer. He's an even better mixing engineer. And, like working with these different people, it all brings into focus what the original thing was, whether I knew it was or wasn't. Collaboration's always been at the core of me. Even when I did my first record, I had 9 musicians up there. I didn't have to. I didn't need to. I shouldn't have. For budgetary purposes, it's expensive. But my first thing in my mind was like, all right, I'll get to do my first record. I'll produce it. Let me put all my friends on. Like, let me get all my people. Let me, so it was a good thought. It was misguided, but it was a good thought. I should have did it a different way. But at the end of the core of me is collaboration, working with people. And I think it's because I was the only child and I was selfish growing up, and something in me clicked like in my early 20s, like, bro, you can't be like this. You can't be like this, Craig. You can't do this. You can't, because it won't work. So selfishness kind of went out the window, and I just started working with everybody.
So you just revealed something that you and I have in common. I'm an only child also.
Yeah.
So I understand how you feel you can do everything.
Yep.
Just like you said, you have to learn, and I had to learn that too, how to, like when I did my first project, I had to be at every session. I had to be at the mixing sessions. I had to be involved in everything. But I had to learn to trust the people that I hire.
Yep, exactly.
And then advise them if they do something you're not pleased with. Okay, can you just kind of, do this a little differently, do that a little differently?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about 5 for 5. You
Yeah.
launched the 5 for 5 live recordings. Talk about the purpose of 5 for 5.
5 for 5 again, collaboration. You got 5 different artists. You know, independent. Like that stuff costs money. You do a live recording. Especially a live recording where I did it, how we did it. That's a $25,000 project for
Yeah.
one person if they wanted to record. So how about we split all that cost up, you know, amongst everybody. And we figured this out. Let's do the business. Let's this, that, and the third, and let's do it together. One band, everybody gets up here, does a couple of songs, 5 people, let's do it. And that was the first one. And it went off successfully. We were at Second Ebenezer Church.
Who were part
Yeah,
of the
we
first
had
one?
we had Lexi, great gospel artist, my
Hallelujah.
sister. Yeah.
Lexi song. Ooh, that one
Yeah.
takes me in.
Yeah, hallelujah, amen. That's a classic for me. Um, so Lexi, Darius Twyman, Made It Over, was his first single from the 5 for 5 project. We still got a whole nother set of those songs to come out. So working on closing that out now, along with getting the second project together. So Darius Twyman, John Johnson, Imani Jones, and Dina Nicole Bass. So those were the
I
first
still say
5.
yes.
Yep, still say yes. Oh, and my wife was included. So it wound up really being 6 artists on the first one. My wife's song, Psalms 100, was also on there as well. So, um,
So the
you
second
know,
one was the 5 for 5 with the choir edition.
yes.
So what came out of that was a song by Craig Mizell and the Collective, featuring the
Mhm.
Detroit Youth Choir, Kevin Stewart, and Layla Taranay,
Yes.
which is your new single. Tell us about it.
So February 20th, 2023, we recorded another one. Will be a year coming up soon. We recorded a second 5 for 5 live. It was the choir edition. So that featured Second Ebenezer, myself, and my group, the Collective, in DYC and the Detroit Youth Choir. It featured Albert Strickland and Chosen, Jeremiah Towner and Highest Praise, and also the Michael Fletcher chorale. So Michael Fletcher and the Michael Fletcher chorale were also featured on this. So again, wind up turning into about 6 artists. I do this 5 for 5 every time, winds up turning into 6 artists. But we did that, and it was a good turnout. Again, it was actually more people there that time than it was the first time, so I was ecstatic about that. um and I'm just, the what came out of that was this amazing song called Big Big God. um Janae Saunders, she is the praise and worship leader at Word in Action, where I serve at on Sundays with Apostle Clarence Langston. And we were just in rehearsal, and she just started. I was playing this groove, and she started singing this. Everything you do it well. I'm like, oh, hold on, stop the presses. Let's record that right now. And then again, through collaboration, then Kevin came on board with it because I was playing a song for him, and he was like, "Hey, let me add something to that." And he adds the "He can handle it." So it's just this collaborative work, between the three, and then my brother Quentin Denard, I was just talking about earlier, he got added into it. So between the four of us, it became this collaborative work. And for me, songs are more than just who wrote it and who composed the music. Songs for me are who all added to the overall success of this record.
Mhm.
So that might be for the mixing engineer, the mastering engineer, that might be the singers that sang the background. Because when you're working as independent, budget isn't always there. So you have to find different ways to do budget. So for me, we do publishing. So hey, listen, let's get this song to the space it needs to be, and then I'll give you a couple of points on the publishing, and that's how we do it. And let's get this song to make sure that it is a hit, so then everybody can get what they need as far as their money.
So let's talk industry for a second, because in gospel music, we don't do that.
No.
When you look at pop and R&B, they'll have a zillion and three people on one song. So I think that, like you say, is the future for indie artists. You know, give me 10% of not just writing, but publishing. Yeah. So I think that's important, that artists understand that, like you said, you have to create multiple streams of income. You know, I can do a work for hire, but you only gonna get that one paycheck. But if I can do publishing and streaming, that's future income for me.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you have to learn how to work in the industry the way it is. All of us, you know, whether you have a lot of zeros behind your number or that you make a year or you don't, we all are struggling because everything's more pricier than it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's for everybody. It's not just middle class or poor or whatever. It's everybody. Everything is changed for everybody. So, you know, we have to find different ways to work together. So if I'm working with an artist and they have 500,000 followers, 500,000 followers don't mean you got money. This means you got 500,000 followers. So now you got to turn that 500,000 followers into money. So if I'm working with an artist and they got 500,000 followers, but they ain't got no money, I'm going to work with that artist because they got 500,000 followers. We can turn that 500,000 followers into something.
Right.
And I think that's what we don't understand. We got so twisted with opportunity and people being abused with opportunity, with somebody saying, oh yeah, man, we're gonna be at such and such mega church on this, that, and the third, knowing good and well you ain't even getting no money for that. Knowing good and well you ain't got nothing to pay for it. So we kept throwing out opportunity. People were throwing out opportunity, where now we're so disconnected from what real opportunity is. Last week at the Super Bowl, you had Usher, who performed for free, who added some money of his own to make sure that his performance went off the way he did. The Weeknd has done it, and so has Dr. Dre. But why do we do it? Because that's good opportunity. That's opportunity that's going to afford you streams. That's opportunity that's going to afford you eyes, concert ticket sales, merchandise sales. It's literal money and feasible money that the artist is going to see back in their pocket. Well, the problem is,
was wise enough to drop a new project right around this time.
Exactly. But that's what the only one who didn't was Rihanna last year. And even with that, she funneled all of those sales right to her makeup and beauty products. You know what I'm saying? So even still, you know, she's a billionaire. She's done all of the things that she needs to do to make sure that she's not reliant on the Super Bowl, the NFL giving her a little 10 million. And when I say little 10 million, it is a little 10 million, because at the end of the day, those productions require 2,000 to 3,000 people. $10 million doesn't stretch that far with 2,000 to 3,000 people you got to pay for sets and all kind of stuff like that. So you have an Usher who pays and invests in getting good opportunity. And in gospel music, you know, there's, such and such artist or such and such worship leader down the street. Oh, this is going to be good opportunity. We open for John P. Key. We open for Karen Clark Sheard. We open for this, that, and the third. But the fact of the matter is you sold somebody a bill of goods because you didn't work the opportunity yourself.
Right.
And then you're telling me I have opportunity for you, but if all the opportunity was you just went and sang, and then you didn't figure out some kind of way to turn that into something else, then we just all wasted our time. And you talking about opportunity. So when you get to a space where you got guys who are just like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm okay. I need money to do everything. I need money to do everything. That's how the industry has become messed up, because people have been sold a false bill of goods when it comes to opportunity. Opportunity is only opportunity if you're really going to take the opportunity you got and turn it into something. And I think that's the problem with why you got so many people that are just like, nah, just give me the money. Just give me the money. And I think we got to get out of that.
One thing that I've learned in working with people is to be honest. If I you say, Craig, I ain't got no money, will you do this for me this time? You can say yes or no. But I can't keep coming to you every week, Craig. Can you do something for me? I think for me, I found that it's important because people will respect you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you come, hey, this is what I'm working with. Will you do this for this? And you tell me, well, Carl, can you get me an extra $100? Can you give me an extra $200? Then let me try to figure out how to budget that.
Right.
I think the things that you have shared have been awesome. What's next for Craig Mizell?
Oh, well, what's next is I'm gonna continue to just push and tell everybody, that God is a big, big God, and that He is doing amazing things, and that there's nothing impossible for God to do, and He can handle it. And I'm gonna keep pushing that message until God gives me the next message. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna keep producing these artists and pushing music for them. Because again, at the core of everything I want to do is to help people. I have no intentions besides helping people. And sometimes I may overextend myself and get a little tired and have to take a second to just get myself together. But at the end of the day, it's because I want to help people that I need to take the second, So I love God's people. I love God, and I just want to help as many people as I can achieve what it is that they're believing big for.
So how can people reach you? How can people get your music, and how can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can whatever we're doing, My-Zeal Productions.com. That's MYZEAL Productions with an S.com. And the records that I've worked on, I think we're at like 1 million and some change of streams now, just overall as a company. So, and that's with like very little marketing, very little anything. We're just trying. Excuse me. We're not trying. We're doing what it is we set out to do. And I appreciate everybody who supported, because this isn't easy. This isn't a cakewalk. And doing this, sometimes I see other people and they start getting accolades and this, that, and the third, and they're getting to work with these artists that I really want to work with and know that I could bring something to the table for. And I have to snap myself back, like, that's their time. Your time is coming. So that's really for me. So again, you can reach me, My-Zeal Productions.com. You can get me on Instagram, Craig Mizell, CEO. That's Craig, CraigMizell, CEO. And you can see everything that I'm doing. You can get me there on TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram.
I have truly enjoyed this conversation with you.
Yes, sir.
Learned so much about you tonight that I didn't know. But people don't understand, when you and I get together, we talk like this. We talk
absolutely.
openly. We have very open conversations. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that I've had a chance to get to know you over the years.
Appreciate
sit
it.
down with you and your wife in Vegas and have her even pour into me. She is such an inspiration. Love her dearly. So again,
Yes,
everyone,
sir.
make sure you get Craig Mizell, Detroit, the collective featuring Detroit Youth Choir, Kevin Stewart, later entire name. The song is called Big, Big God. Go download it. You'll truly enjoy it. And I always close by saying this. Remember to work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like no one's watching you. Dance like you're serving a big, big God. God bless until we have a chance to meet again.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Thank you for listening to the Carl B. Phillips Show. For more information, go to carlbphillips.com.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Follow Carl B. Phillips on Instagram so we can stay in contact with each other.